All right, let's go ahead and start this off. So, for those that are tuning in today, I would say welcome back, everybody. It's been, I want to say maybe just over a month now.
Probably about a month.
Yeah, it's been just about a month. A lot has happened since then. GP Richmond, so traveling to a few events. I got a few more events lined up that I'm going to. Yeah, a lot has happened. But before I get into all of that, I'd like to introduce Dana. Dana,
Hey.
say hi. A few of the overhead streams that I've done before, Dana has done them with me. So I invited him on today to go ahead and go over a few cards from Guilds of Ravnica that we're going to be going over when it comes to Legacy. So this is Legacy specific. We're not going to go over Standard, Modern, even though this stream would be a lot longer if it was going over Modern, because there's a lot more Modern playable cards, I believe, in Guilds.
For sure.
Yeah. And some of these that we're going to go over in Legacy would probably directly port over to Modern. And vice versa, or let's say maybe it wouldn't work the other way around.
Yeah, there's some cards in this set that are much better legacy focused than they are modern focused, but there's quite a bit of overlap between the two.
Yeah. So there's that, and then events coming up. Man, we got a bunch. I know next weekend I'm going to St. Louis for the 40 Duels event in was that Moonbase Market. I'm excited to play in that. That should be great. Let's see, Poop Trophy not good enough for Legacy. Yeah, I'm gonna let you know right now. We are doing these alphabetically, so we're gonna knock that one right out the way. So we'll discuss that. But yeah, I got that coming up. Man, I didn't even pull up the schedule, but
And then after that is Tucson City Champs.
yeah, out here in Arizona, we got the Tucson City Champs for the where is it, the Legacy Masters Series.
Mm-hmm.
There is on the 20th of October, there is a Magic for a Cause charity legacy event in Gilbert over at Amazing Discoveries. And we're both going to be playing in that one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that one should be great. So we got that one. I know I'm going to Eternal Weekend.
Yeah, and I'm not.
Yeah, initially I wasn't going to Eternal Weekend, but I'm definitely going this time around. And then we both got Vegas.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the next one after that. I'm going to be in the Legacy seat for that one.
And then I'll be standard or modern, depending on our.
You guys didn't figure that one out?
Yeah, no, not yet.
Yeah.
We're gonna see how standard season goes along.
Yeah. Ooh, correction. In between Eternal Weekend and Vegas, the Arizona Masters Series should be culminating with their Invitational at the end of the year. I took down Gilbert.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it was. I took down Gilbert. So I got an invite to the end. I think if you top 8 Tucson.
Yeah, if I top 8, I think I can lock.
Yeah.
All things depending, but
Yeah, if you top 8 Tucson, you should be good to go. So we could both head to that one, and then hopefully one of us could take that down.
yeah.
I think last year I top 8'd, and then I don't remember what crushed me.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, it wasn't Goblins. Goblins was before that. Oh no, I lost to Storm.
Yeah.
I lost to Nick.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you beat him in rounds and
Yeah.
lost him in the.
Yeah, I lost.
Finals,
Yeah, beat him in the rounds. Yep, it happens. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the to the review now, and we're all gonna start off with the most talked about card because again, it is alphabetical. Assassin's Trophy. All right, so oh boy, Merlin, what's going on, man? So Assassin's Trophy, what do we got here? So we got an instant, destroy target permanent. Any permanent, pretty much, an opponent controls, and then it has the Path to Exile clause.
Well, it's not the Path to Exile clause because this comes in untapped.
Yes, but it go get a basic after you
Yeah.
get rid of whatever it is.
But the untappedness of this card, I think, is going to cause a lot of people pains the first couple weeks you play it.
What do you mean? So how does it gonna
So
work?
it doesn't play like Path, where Path you could path them in their draw step, maybe get
Yeah.
one of the basics, and then lock it in their hand, and then it's not untapped.
Definitely.
This one, you can definitely accelerate them a
Yeah.
whole turn.
So-
And accelerating somebody a turn in Legacy is a really big deal.
Yeah, definitely. You also have I feel a lot of decks. So if you look at Grix's Delver list now, after the banning of Deathrite Shaman and Gitaxian Probe, they're running about one island, they might throw one more basic in there. Might. Depends on how prevalent this card is. It's not to say there's going to be a 4 of in every bug deck, but depending on how popular this card is, that one basic might be enough. But it's awkward because you're playing around Wasteland, and then you want to play to a certain way that if they're going to try to Assassin's Trophy your Gerbing Angler, you want to be able to get value off of that as well.
I think mana bases, as this card becomes more prevalent, we're going to see an evolution of mana bases and just how many basics you want to play.
Yeah.
And even decks that classically don't play any basics, like Temur Delver is the biggest one I can think of, is going to want to say, oh, I don't know if I want to get completely locked out by this card now.
Yeah, it picks off anything on the field, depending on the shell they're playing. Because you got the Hooting Mandrills ones, the Goyf ones. It's not going to take out True Names, not going to take out Nimble Mongoose. Yeah, I got that. The good thing about this card, it gives bug shells a way to deal with Gurmag, because it used to be, if they're playing Belfastrix, that's one way to block it. If you're not playing that, you need to clear the board so that you can get an Edict out there.
Yeah.
Or you're playing your own Gurmag. Or you have a Goyf that's big enough, yet Gurmag shrinks the Goyf, and it got really awkward.
Yes.
And so with this, you now have a clean answer for Gurmag, and you can just take it off the field.
Fact.
Yeah,
I think getting rid of Gurmag is probably where this card is really going to shine. Jace is also extremely prevalent, but I think Jace plays more, especially when it comes to bug, Jace plays more of your win condition, so you're out of resources at that time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's also taking care of Jace, which is a big one. Better Trophy, Assassins, or MTG Worlds. I don't know if it's a foil Assassin's Trophy. I'll go with that one. So there's also taking care of Jace.
I get what he's saying.
What?
The World's Trophy is awful, and it's a point of contention on
the
trophy. Just looks really bad.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so foil Assassin's Trophy looks better than the World's
Trophy. So we're gonna go with that one. Yeah. That one. Yeah, I guess I'm not up to that one. Not up on that one. But the other one I was gonna discuss was Jace is another one. The decks that are running Jace, the moment it lands, if they are game 1, because game 2 you can run Pyroblast most decks that are running red, I'll say. But this gives again bug decks another answer to Jace.
Yes.
With one major exception that is also a drawback, and that is Miracles.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have basics.
They're going to have a ton of basics. And then, like I said, accelerating them a turn, this is where it could become extremely prevalent.
Yeah, you can, it's not that you need to accelerate any Entreat the Angels, because that's not really how that works.
Right.
Because they can get 2 to 3
but
tokens
just giving
to kill
them
you.
the ability to have an extra cantrip to set up a miracle.
Yeah, more mana for control deck is not where you want to be. But yeah, it's just going to take time to see how far it goes. Does this card push any decks out of Legacy? I don't know about that.
I don't think it pushes any decks out, but it's going to force every deck to understand and respect what the card does. Because like one of the biggest things I can see this card being prevalent also in is Elves when it comes to Tabernacle. Tabernacle is kind of hard to answer if you don't have a Cradle. So when you're forced to use your mana creatures to save them.
Yeah, so here's what I'll say. There's a card that has gotten forgotten since the banning of Deathrite Shaman and Taxing Probe, and that's Leovold. Leovold is a really good card. So every once in a while, I'll play Bug Alurin, and if I can get to the point in which a Leovold has a table, because you got to get early discard and hymns or whatever just to even survive that long enough, Leovold still takes over the game. Leovold is big. Leovold is really good. Leovold is waiting for a deck for him to push him over the top. Now, I don't know if he's going to push any out of tier 1. I know you're asking that. But this in combination with that, like, let's give a good example. Let's say, not that this will happen, Turbo Depths, right? So a deck like Turbo Depths, if Leovold is trying to hold back the blue decks, and you have you might have an issue with Turbo Depths, especially if you're not playing Diabolic Edict's main.
Yeah.
Maybe one for a freaking True Name. But even then, you can run other things main to deal with True Name, like Liliana. Not Last Hope, but Other Veil. Assassin's Trophy deals with Dark Depths. Not Merit Lage, Dark
Yes.
Depths. Some people keep getting that confused on Twitter. I see it all the time. He's indestructible. No, it deals with Dark Depths.
Yes.
So even in that regard, it's something. It's another angle of attack on those decks. So I don't know. It's a weird game with Legacy that when some decks like get better, others get worse, and then there's like a when graveyard hate for one deck happens. There's decks that are trying to push to tier one. They happen to get pushed out by this very niche like
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
look
it's
at
just
like Nihil Spellbomb versus
Yeah.
Leyline of the Void, that kind of deal.
yeah, things like that. Matter of fact, after the banning, because when all the graveyard hate came up, it pushed out all the graveyard decks because they thought they were going to be tier one.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting. You already know your boy plays Infect in this card, yeah. Yeah. But so I think Leovold might be popping back up. I know there's a damn, look at that. 4-color loam list, as soon as I was gonna say it. 4-color loam list are discussing Assassin's Trophy. The problem is Decay, I think, is used for different things.
Yes.
This
card does not just strict out equal better than Decay.
Yeah, I think it's a different card. You know what I mean by that. It's like it is doing something different. I'll give you a good example. I'm going to get back to 4-color loam. Ant should not play this card. Because Ant needs to deal with counterbalance without getting Abrupt Decay countered. So you can't replace it with this.
Right.
You also need to be able to deal with like any other card against blue decks without getting countered. So you need Abrupt Decay. Mm-hmm. And then if for some reason your opponent is playing Leyline of Sanctity or Leyline of the Void, you either just bounce those with Chain of Vapor and that's it. But you don't replace it with this. Now with 4-color loam, their Abrupt Decays are there to just answer anything that your other cards can't answer. And you would want Assassin's Trophy to replace really Vindicate or Maelstrom Pulse if those are being played. And I play 4-color loam every once in a while, and it's really just Vindicate. I have played Maelstrom Pulse like once or twice. Vindicate, it would replace that. It's instant speed. It's giving them a land, and the only way that kind of backfires is if you're on the Wasteland plan or the Loam plan with Knight, and then you're giving them a land. So it gets a little bit wonky there. But I mean, it's a quick answer again to Jace, and you're like, oh man, they drop a Jace, and you don't have Punishing Fire online. You need to get rid of it. So yeah, it might be like I know there's only 3 Abrupt Decays. Maybe it's a one of that replaces the Flex slot. It'll take care of the Vindicate, or sometimes they run a Toxic Deluge in the main or something. Or recently, a Queen Marchesa.
Interesting.
Yeah, it looks really good too.
I love Legacy when those weird cards just pop up.
But yeah,
like, okay.
Decks that this can be ran in. Any of the bug decks.
Any of the bugs, yeah.
Food Chain decks, right?
Food Chain. Elf Sideboard, potentially.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, Julian Nab, if you follow his Twitter, you should look him up. He just should have posted some videos on his YouTube. He was streaming earlier. He ran Assassin Trophy in the sideboard of Elves. So he's got some videos to show of Assassin's Trophy in Elves. What else we got? I mean, 4-color loam is another one. Speaking of Turbo Depths.
Could be an option there.
See, but again, you got Abrupt Decay just deals with whatever you probably need it to.
Yeah, so I think this card doesn't like just necessarily port into decks, but it definitely opens up the viability for new decks to come out.
Yeah. Got anything else on Assassin's Trophy?
No, I think we're good.
All right. If the chat has anything else they want to discuss about Assassin's Trophy, by all means, just bring it back up and we can get back to the card. But we're going to go ahead and move on to Beast Whisperer. All right. So what we got here is, for 4 mana, you can get Glimpse of Nature on a stick.
Yeah, this card it's good, but I wouldn't necessarily call it. It is a Glimpse of Nature creature, but I don't know if it's good enough for elves. It can be extremely potent if you're on a fast start with a Heritage Druid, but overall, I think it might be just a tad too slow.
Well, I like to point out there's no beast in the room, so we don't have to whisper. Yeah, my dog's not in the room, so we don't have to whisper. So now, one thing I like about Beast Whisper, so with Glimpse, you have Flustered Storm, Spell Pierce. Mm-hmm. You have all these other ways to stop it.
Yeah, it's definitely a creature answer to get that.
It is a beast. This is true. Thanks for saying I'm not a beast. Okay, got it. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, so this gets around. Matter of fact, if I backtrack just a little bit, Sneak and Show started playing Arcane Artisan.
Yes.
Right. Arcane Artisan was show and tell for them, or started becoming show and tell for them post board, so that they have another way to cast one of their big spells. Now, granted, it's the big spell for them to win the game. You could say it's one of two because they also have sneak attack. Got it. And in this case, now granted, it's 4 mana, but in elves, you can either spike to 4 mana or you can just playing out 2 drops and bouncing them back with replaying your visionaries and whatnot. But with this, I don't know where the numbers would be post sideboard, but if you can get this out, you're then playing this, and it's replacing your Glimpse of Nature.
Yeah. So one of the things that I learned from another Elves player that was local to Arizona before is a lot of the times when you want to combo out, the Glimpse is super important, but you can also just value Glimpse to draw a bunch of cards. And this guy, if you can accelerate him out on turn 2 and then have him set up your Glimpse for next turn, you don't have to have the Glimpse in hand anymore, and you've subverted one of their counter spells. So,
give me 1 second. I need to check one thing real quick. All right, sorry. I just added Tajik to the list. We'll go over that one in a second. Or actually not in a second, but when we come up to it in our list. Yeah. So then the other thing is when you got removal with elves, right? So Fatal Push doesn't hit this unless you are revolting.
Revolt it.
Bolt hits it, but you have a bunch of other things. It's an elf, so you can bounce it back with. You can protect it with Symbiote. You can also protect it with, or you can use it to power out other things with Heritage Druid. It does a lot for you.
Yeah, it's a value Glimpse essentially.
Yes. So I still think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
We're only in the B's. They'll get there. Yeah. If you guys have, again, more cards to add to the list, we'll definitely throw them on here. What is going on here? Hold on. I need to make sure this is sorted correctly. There we go. Like that. Oh, no, it went backwards.
Undo. Oh, God.
It's going backwards. There we go.
All right, there we go.
All right. All right. So, what is it going in? Elves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Pretty
wouldn't go
much
in anything
just
else.
elves.
It's not. It costs 4, so it can't go in Alluring. All right. So, moving on to the next one. Bounty
Speaking
Agent.
of death and taxes.
So, for two mana, we got a Vigilant 2/2. You tap it and you sacrifice it, and you can destroy a target legendary permanent that's an artifact, creature, or enchantment.
Yeah, so I don't know where this card can like really sit and what it wants to do that Caracas doesn't already do, because I couldn't, off the top of my head, and when I was looking at it, I don't know what artifact or enchantment you want to hit that's legendary that's relevant in Legacy.
Yeah, I agree. So this one was added to the list because Caracas is a card. So since Caracas is a card, this one is similar to Caracas, but it also adds artifacts and enchantments. Now, I couldn't think of any legendary enchantments that you want to bounce, unless you want to bounce a chains, or not bounce, but destroy a chains, I guess. But
Sure.
it doesn't affect death and taxes.
And I just actually couldn't think of anything.
If your meta, if you're playing Miracles, right, and your meta has a bunch of like 8-rack players and they have changed for some reason, buy some bounty agents to blow up those
get rid of them.
and their freaking abysses and all that other stuff. Abyss is a global. I don't know if it's legendary. You look it up real quick.
Yeah. Now, if this would say legendary land, then it'd be a completely different discussion.
Oh yeah, that'd be.
It would be real good.
Yeah, Abyss is just a world enchantment.
Okay.
Yeah, Chains is. Oh no, Chains is
not
just
legendary,
Chains is
huh?
not legendary either. What?
I always swore it was.
Oh, never mind. It doesn't hit anything.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't hit anything really.
It's essentially just doing the same thing as Caracas. So
That being said, it can subvert a pithy needle on a Caracas if that's relevant to your.
yeah, that's about the other thing. That's probably the best use of this card. If you have a Sting Show Reanimator heavy meta, and
Omnium Tribal, I like it.
and you need to go ahead and do that, yeah.
If you're playing that, you're levels ahead of us.
But yeah, you can go ahead and use this to go ahead and be another Caracas, pretty much. It also gets tutored by Recruiter of the Guard, which is always good. All right, so moving on from this one. So, Citywide Bust. Destroy all creatures with toughness 4 or greater. It's a 3 mana sort of board wipe.
Yeah.
Right? So, with this one, what I was thinking with this one is not necessarily Death and Taxes, but any sort of meta in which there's a bunch of Night of Souls Betrayal is legendary.
That's true.
Look at that. Yeah, if you know it's happening in your local meta, you definitely, let's go back to that real quick. Show that real quick. Bounty Agent,
Yeah,
boom.
it does get it.
Close that up. All right. So Citywide Bust. If Eldrazi is big in your meta, Citywide Bust can definitely clear the board. I'm curious about the booty, not the bust. A big thing here is I don't think this is good in Death and Taxes.
Right.
I think it's good in Stoneblade decks. And the only reason for that is because of Thalia. So cards like Thalia, you are making this a 4 mana board wipe anyway. So then just run Wrath of God. Because then you can play around your own Wrath.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to take advantage of it being a 3 mana board wipe and not blowing up your own True Name, yeah, you can just wipe out your freaking Thought-Knot Seers, Reality Smashers, and just take care of all of that and be good to go.
Yeah, I would still be interested in testing it in Death and Taxes, just because your creatures do survive from it. And I've played against Eldrazi a couple times, and the matchup seems pretty 50-50, but if I can make it a 70-30 after sideboarding with this, it's definitely something to warrant. If it's heavy in your meta, I don't suggest having it around just because.
What I also like is Snapcaster Mage, Citywide Bust.
Yeah.
Seems really good. That seems really good too.
Board wipe them, but keep your snap.
Yeah, and just keep the Snapcaster Mage. Is like he survives. Like, whoa, what just happened here? Yeah, that's always good. But yeah, it's a specific board wipe, and technically it'll take out Death Shadows and Gurmags, but you have to catch Death Shadow.
Yeah. Normally, if a Death Shadow is getting above 4, you're getting close to actually dying. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to play it for that, you can, but I don't recommend it. Anything else in Citywide Bus?
No.
You want to go over this one?
So, here we have Crippling Chill. It's 3 and a black. Creeping. Okay. 3 and a black. It deals 3 damage to each opponent, and you gain 3 life. But if it's put into your graveyard from your library, you can exile it. If you do, it does the same effect. So this is essentially a new Narcomoeba variant. But I really like this card, and
Matt.
and actually the person who made me really like this card just off the top was playing a deck called Cephalid Breakfast in the last City Champs we had here. And while it doesn't Dread Return Oracle Ball Therapy, it is in the Dredge deck. It gives you a source of damage for when they're trying to exile all of your creatures. So rather than having to deal 20 damage, you're looking at maybe only having to deal 11 with your creatures.
6, 12, 8. If you can dredge all of them.
Yeah, if you dredge all
At
of
most,
them, I'm expecting you to maybe dredge. Yeah, I'm expecting you to maybe dredge 3 of them in your game, not all 4.
Okay.
If you're just ripping off all 4 every game and only having to deal 8, then so be it. You're definitely doing good.
I'll defer to Dimitri. Oh yeah, I mean, maybe he'll try them out if he can get 4 copies. I think. But yeah.
Right. So I don't think in the Cephalid Breakfast deck it's all that great unless it didn't have the exile clause, and then you could have just played Gaia's Blessing and start looping your deck. which would have been really cool. But
there's a way to pull things from Exile, like the multiple cards from Exile.
The only card I can think of off the top of my head is Pull from Eternity.
It's not just Pull from Eternity, is it? Let me look it up real quick. That's one.
I'm pretty sure that's the only card that pulls things from Exile. Oh, Rift Sweeper.
One over, yeah. Rift Sweeper is a creature, and it only pulls one, and it puts it back in the deck too, which is probably where you want it. I can't spell Rift Sweeper.
Right.
It doesn't do what you want. It puts it in the deck, and it puts it back in the deck. So if you need to do more damage, so what you want to be doing here is you want to be running no, it's not Rally. You need a way to mill all these out and then reanimate several Rift Sweepers
and just
get them all back including like a spy or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then the triggers on the stack, you put them back in your deck.
Yeah.
And then mill yourself out again and one-shot your opponent. That's got to be a way to do this.
There's got to be a way to do this.
There's got to be a way to do this. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, you can process them.
Right,
but they go back in the graveyard.
Yeah,
but
unless you're shuffling cards back in. I guess you could cast Gaia's Blessing for its like actual card.
Yeah, you could do the rest of that. So, well, Rally doesn't grab if you're going for 2 or less. So the reason I didn't include Rally because you'd have to hit which one's cheaper? Is the Spy or the I think it's the Spy or the Agent. I can never spell this. Balustrid. I butchered that one. Spy is 4, yes. So it's 4 and 3 because the other one is 3 with an activation cost of 1.
Mm-hmm.
Undercity Informer is the other one. So then you need to hit a converted mana cost of 3, and you need 1 remaining to sack.
Oh, so they're both essentially 4.
So there's going to be another deck. It's going to happen. So there's going to be Rift Sweepers and Creeping Chills, and someone's going to self-mill, get them all back, and then murder an opponent. And Elf Shaman, so Angel of Glory's Rise can't get them back. If you already dumped the library, 4 chills, anything left in the deck, so Stitcher Supplier would do it. The 3, 6. No, 6. It's only 18. You have to do the 4 again.
Yeah, you need to do...
Yeah, you got to do the 4 again.
No, 7 times 3.
Yeah, I can't do math.
Yeah.
7 times 3.
7 times 3 is 21.
you think I don't play... I play Storm. Yeah. I actually win with that deck, too.
That's okay. It's an odd number, not an even number.
Exactly. That's what it is.
But anyway, Creeping Chill I think is a really cool card. And I really like the artwork on it because the card in the background that's not in Legacy I think is a really cool card flavor-wise for this
The reason I like it is because what we just did right now... yeah, exactly. It does something that we know how to do already in Legacy with Manaless Dredge, with Oops All Spells, all those different decks, and there's room to use this card again, but not in those decks. But like we just brought up Rift Sweeper, and there's a way to like reanimate those with like a card like Rally, like just having this be Abzan colors, and just like get those back with LEDs and Lotus Petals, and then just do it again real quick and one shot your opponent.
Yeah.
And then game 2, you have to do the Cephalid breakfast change of game plan and play something totally different. Right. Put in 4 Stoneforge Mystics or something else. Furnace of Wrath. If you can drop that on the battlefield somehow.
Yeah, I was actually going to note that I thought this also did life loss when I first read it and then reread it as damage. But
yeah, so it can't... Yeah, it's damage, right?
Yeah, it's damage. I thought it was life loss when I first read it.
But
it also doesn't target the opponent. It does it to each opponent.
There's like a handful of black cards that do damage, which is weird. It's because then it drains them.
Mm-hmm. And this person is obviously about to get attacked by a spider, so...
Yeah. All right. This is a fun card. I think I'm going to get at least a playset somewhere. From somewhere.
All right.
All right, so moving on. So we got from Creeping Chill to Dawn of Hope. So we got a 2-cost enchantment. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. 4 mana, one of them being a white, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. So, I think this card goes into one deck and one deck only. Anybody think they know what deck that would be before either one of us bring it up? You can still run Narcs plus. This card is hot. What do you think in Legacy this card goes? I think I know where it goes. For at least 8. Return. This new giant. Nice. Oh yeah, we'll bring up the what is the Lotlif giant or something like that. We're gonna bring that up later on. Enchantress. Yep. There you go. Perfect. So, you got oh my god, why can't I think of it? Arcane. No, not Arcane Sanctum.
Is it adaptation?
No, the land. Again.
Oh, Sarah Sanctum?
Sarah Sanctum. I was like, Arcane Sanctum, that's not right. So Sarah Sanctum taps for white, and you can just dump all your mana into this. You can tutor it because you're already doing that. You're already drawing cards. You don't need to use the first part. I guess you can if you need to. I don't know how else you're gaining life, but it's not really that relevant.
But doesn't Doomwake Giant hit your creatures as well?
No, Doomwake is one-sided. Okay. Yeah, that's what makes Doomwake Giant so good. Face card Arena with your tokens are now Angel card. Opponents. Nice. I guess the way you're gaining life is with your tokens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're getting card advantage afterwards. But yeah, if you get an unchecked Sarah Sanctum and you just start dumping your mana into this every single turn, you have another win con. So I think this is really good.
And drawing a card too. Because that deck likes to draw a lot of cards.
Yeah, so then, you're drawing the one card because it's going to trigger whenever you gain life, so you gain 1 life that one time. Mm-hmm. So it's going to do that. But yeah, I think this is really good for Enchantress.
Also, the artwork on this card is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Is that Sung the Cho? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty freaking cool. I really like it. I've seen different builds of Enchantress. I never played any of them. I played against them. I don't like the ones that run Emrakul, even though they can cast it. But just dumping your mana into this and being able to better token one cat wife link or
with life link. It's a W/.
Oh, with life link. Yeah. It's on the other side of the screen. I read that as wife link. I was like, wife link. What does it mean? Getting married? Yeah. I'm gonna say soldier because I'm biased. So we'll go with the soldier.
Soldiers they have a lot more synergy.
Not even because of that. I'm just gonna go with soldier. Yeah, wife link is so Von.
So Von. There you go.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about this. Is there any other deck that would want this?
I don't think so.
Yeah, 4 mana. I don't see this going into anything else. You're not really dumping 4 mana to this. Because anything else that plays white, Death and Taxes is using their mana for mana denial.
Yep.
Miracles is using their mana for end of turn shenanigans. This is 2 weak for Legacy. You think this is 2 weak for Legacy? I think this is great in Enchantress. Because Enchantress is probably 2 weak for Legacy. I think it's slow enough for that deck is what it is. That's the only reason why.
So I have a GP Richmond story. I come off of my buys, and I'm on Grixis control. I come off my buys, my opponent goes Forest Utopia Sprawl, and I was like, well, that was a good way to start a tournament 2-1. Enchantress is I personally think, a really hard matchup for Grixis control. And so if Grixis control continues to go up and you see a rise in Enchantress, this could be potentially a way to deal with it. And this will give you a quicker way to close out a game. Yeah,
with Utopia Sprawls, all their mana, which Utopia Sprawls go in the freaking basics, which I think is amazing. They get in their Sarah Sanctums. They're just pumping out a bunch of 1/1 with lifelink. They have blockers. They're gaining life. They can stop aggro. There's just so much they can do. And then they're drawing, if they get the rest of their game plan online, they're also drawing a bunch of cards too. Yes. So they're flooding the board during their game plan. And if Enchantress is doing what they're supposed to be doing, you're going to have a bad time. If they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, that's just the way the deck works because they fold to themselves a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, if they get to do what they're supposed to be doing, this is going to be good. So, mess over. False. So, yeah, I can agree with that one. All right, so anything else on this one?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Oh my God! It's Grizzlebrand. It's the new Grizzlebrand.
If it had lifelink, I would say it is the new Grizzlebrand.
Let's go over the card first. Doom Whisperer. We have 5 costs. Flying Trample. Pay to Life. Surveil 2. All right. For those that don't know, Surveil is like a pseudo scry. What you're doing is you're looking at X number of cards, which is whatever the number is, and you can choose to rearrange those and put any number of those in the library or back on top of the library or into the graveyard. All right. The reason I'm bringing this one up is because it is not Grizzlebrand.
No, it is definitely not Grizzlebrand, but it does have its own upsides.
It does, but every podcast, every article, or like a whole bunch of different places, I keep seeing the mention of this card. They keep saying how like this is going to be so great, and now like if Grizzlebrand gets banned, that's also another big one. If Grizzlebrand gets banned, this can just replace it. Maybe the gate wants it. But here's the problem with this. It doesn't put the cards in your hand.
Right.
Yeah, that's really it.
So Surveil is a very awkward mechanic. It's even more awkward than Scry, in my opinion, because it has a really low floor but a really high ceiling. And I mean, it's a decent place to bring it up since this is our first Surveil card. Surveil with Brainstorm and Ponder and Preordain is going to be some of the trickiest things you could probably ever do in Legacy.
That's true,
because
yeah.
you can put cards back and then do the Liliana trick where you just ditch them right away with Surveil, or you're going to end up surveilling with another card we have on our list, and you're like, well, I can't do anything now because I need this card on top. So
2 Whisperers in the same set. We can't whisper in this one because there's no impending doom. So, yeah, I totally agree. Now, we do have some other Surveil cards coming up, so we can discuss those. Doom or Beast.
Definitely Doom.
Yeah. Depending on the deck. I mean, it depends on the deck.
I'm just thinking if you're whispering Doom to someone, it's better than
you're whispering Doom. Better than no
to a
whisper.
beast.
You're a Beast Whisperer. You're Felix Milan, is that what it is now? It's a Dog Whisperer. Like Doom Whisperer, dumb deck in the graveyard. Okay, so... now, I'm glad you bring that up. So, if you get away from this is Grizzlebrand, if you get away from that, going back to Creeping Chill, where we were like, this could be a new deck, and this is the new things. This does something that's very unique. If you can get this on the battlefield, you do. I said Dread Return. I was gonna say, but you Shallow Grave a deck like a card like this, and you somehow, it would be like an unlife. You can't Angel's Grace because you won't be able to pay 2 life anymore.
Right.
So an unlife effect. So we're talking about like a totally different deck. But let's say there's an unlife type deck. You unlife and then you just no, because you can't play you can't pay any more than 2 life. So
right, because you actually have to pay the life.
Yeah.
It's not dealing damage to you.
There's
no way to actually dump your deck unless you...
Yeah, now with the paying of the 2 life, you'd have to. You have to gain infinite life, but then there's ways to infinitely kill your opponent after that. Not in my fins. Yeah, you're definitely getting Grizzlebrand, right?
Yeah, Grizz. Yeah, this is...
Yeah, definitely standard. I brought it up because the mention of like if Grizzlebrand gets or Magus, yeah, definitely. Grizzlebrand gets banned, this will come up, and you're like, no, it's not putting the cards in your hand. If Grizzlebrand gets banned. What's his name? Jin-Taxius?
Yeah, Jin-Taxius.
Jin-Taxius is coming back. You're going to draw 7. You're going to freaking destroy your opponent's hand, and that's it.
However, the one thing that this thing does have over Grizzlebrand, it is not legendary.
That's about it. But it's a flying...
Hey, you gotta get your wins where they count, right?
You also take less if you reanimate it.
Yes, it is only 5 for a 6/6, so it's above value.
All right, moving on to the next one. Drown Secrets. 1 in the blue enchantment. Whenever you cast a blue spell, target player puts the top 2 cards in their library into the graveyard. All right, there's 1 demon army, literally. Look at those arms. Yeah, you're right. He's an army. I get it. Speaking of High Tide, yeah, were you just talking about it? Yeah. Okay, so 2 things. Do you have anything you want to bring up first, or?
I haven't played High Tide, but I did look at a couple deck lists, and I definitely think it fits here, but also just that this card in general can't be bad because it's blue, so it pitches the force.
Pitches the force.
And in Legacy, you're playing so many blue spells that somehow you can do it. You could even brainstorm and then brainstorm again and ditch 2 cards.
Miracle's win condition. Seems good.
Yeah, but that's a really long game.
I don't know about that one.
That's your winning one.
I don't know about that one.
You're actually winning the game.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Nefalio Drawn Yard in Standard a few years back. That's what it is. I don't really have win cons. Mill 3. Yeah. All right. So High Tide is a big one, right? So with High Tide, one of their basic win cons was Brain Freeze. Or if you get enough mana, you can go ahead and just hit them with a Blue Sun Zine to draw their deck. But with this, if you drop it, you're already trying to combo out.
Yeah.
Or combo off, I should say. And these stack, which is what's great. So when you draw more of them, you just play those, and you already have 1,000,000 mana. And and you just keep casting more blue spells. And it shouldn't take long for your opponent to lose. Especially High Tide goes off now. High Tide or Solidarity, turn 4. I think it's about turn 4 or 5. It takes a minute. Do you have a Legion War Boss on this list? Legion War Boss. Let me look it up real quick. Oops. Do not, but we can definitely discuss it. So yeah, but there's that one. That's the first one is High Tide. It gives you another win con, and then you can Blue Sun Zenith them out the game. The other one is there may be self-mill decks. We've actually discussed with Undergrowth and Surveil. It seems like they could be more graveyard strategies.
Yeah.
We've already discussed like almost 2 decks, maybe possibly 3, that there could be new decks coming up that want to just reanimate the entire graveyard and do some shenanigans. And this is a self-mill that if you're already running your blue cantrips, you're hitting yourself as cancer gets accelerated. Run another 2 mana enchantment to accelerate your other 2 mana enchantment.
Yeah, sure.
You have to also run Counterbalance. So you have all the 2 mana enchantments.
Yeah, and then get wrecked by an engineered explosives.
Yeah. Partner with the Anticipation and Baubles. Jeez. Call Fairy, Snap, shenanigans. Yeah, just keep bouncing it.
Yeah,
you can do that too. Yeah, look at that. We've already got a bunch of good ones. Mm-hmm. So let me go ahead and add this one to the list.
Snapcaster's comment here. I think it could be seen as a win more in High Tide. Again, I haven't played the deck, but High Tide in general is a combo deck. And if you can subvert having to combo as hard on your combo turn by just valuing them with Drowned Secrets over the course of the game, it can make your quote combo turn a little bit easier. So you could combo with less cards. But I agree, it does feel a little bit like a win more.
Yeah, it could be win more, definitely. I like it as a sideboard option. 2 cards, just so little. I like it as a sideboard option in High Tide.
Yeah.
But just like the 2 mana enchantment, Dawn of Hope, those decks aren't doing well anyway. Mm-hmm. So they have to be trying something to get better. So I mean, I would like it if more Storm Copies also triggered it. Oh, that would be insane.
That would be absolutely nuts.
Whenever you cast a blue spell, whenever a blue spell you control resolves,
there's nothing with that kind of word.
There's a weird template for it to do that. Yeah. All right, so moving on to the next card. We all float down here. Oh, man. Y'all float too. All right, so moving on to the next one.
I've never seen this artwork for this card, and it's very scary.
Really? What's the artwork you saw?
It's the original set art for it.
What artwork is this?
This is the Draft Weekend promo, as indicated by the bottom. Promo Draft Weekend.
Oh. I didn't notice that. Hold on. Let me get the actual artwork on this one, so that we know which one we're discussing.
So while Frankie gets that art, Firemind's Research is a blue and a red and enchantment. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you put a charge counter on it, and then you have 2 effects. You can pay 1 in a blue, remove 2 charge counters from it, draw a card, or 1 in a red, remove 5 charge counters from it, deal 5 to a target. So the reason I kind of like this card in Legacy is because in the short time I've been playing Legacy, I feel like a lot of Legacy is just spinning your wheels with cantrips. And while that's good and you're setting up your draws for whatever you're trying to do, sometimes you just end up spinning your wheels and your card doesn't get very far. So this actually gives you a destination to spinning your wheels, especially the last ability where you can remove 5, dome something for 5.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's I would think of anything that I don't want to say combo decks in general, but even if you're playing like a blue red, and I've seen something recently. There's like a Pyromancer just kind of like controlling the boards and blood moons and whatnot. Main deck, you're gonna get run over. Yeah, you just drop an enchantment like this, and then you just again spinning your wheels kind of thing. Because so many blue decks are just filled with air.
Yeah.
What's great is I was listening to a podcast recently with who was on it? Dr. Rich Shea was on it, and he mentioned that the cantrips are similar to mana, which is why they're able to play so few mana.
Yeah.
Because you just can get to more mana after that. So, with that being said, you end up playing something like this, and then you just play all the cantrips you have, and you just put a bunch of charge counters in this, and then you just do what you need to do. Either you deal 5 to a Gurmag Angler,
Yeah.
to get rid of it. You get Liliana's, Chases, you draw cards. The only thing I don't like is that it requires too many charge counters.
Yeah, I mean, it requires a lot. And I'm not saying that the card is necessarily great, but it's something to consider, like, if you're looking for a way to break a stall.
Yeah, getting hit by Pyroblast is probably a big one. Tim points it out.
That's fine. You can Pyroblast it, and then my Jace resolves.
turn to this Pyroblast. Oh, no. Untap. And like 2 turns later, Jace. Yeah, land Jace or whatever, turn through. Yeah.
Because there's some value in being able to just run things into counter spells.
Definitely. All right. So, anything else you want to bring this up?
No.
Was there any decks that you think that this can be played in right now?
Right now, the only deck that I think could feasibly do it is Blue Red Delver if they wanted to, but I don't think they need to.
Whoop.
Just because it's easier to cast.
All right. So moving on to the next one. Goblin Crater Maker. So what we got here is a 2-drop Goblin, right? So pay 1, you sacrifice him, and you choose 1. Either he deals 2 damage to a creature, or he destroys target colorless non-land permanent. All right. I want to point out one thing. This is a suicide bomber. This is dark. This is really dark.
It definitely is.
Oh, trust me. For Dan, I'm looking out for foils for this. If I find any foils, they already got his name on it. I'm gonna sign it and then give it to him. Dan Ford, just give it to him. Anyway, I think this is a really good card. I will say one thing on the colorless side, which seems a little awkward. After Trashmaster, getting this card seems a little weird because he can destroy a bunch of artifacts. So again, you're right. It should be a scout, not a warrior. Yeah. So it seems a little awkward.
Yeah, it does, but this can hit Eldrazi.
Yeah, it can hit Eldrazi. It could hit freaking Karn. Chalices.
This is also, it could be an earlier answer to an Aether Vial in a mirror match or against Death and Taxes.
Should be a Berserker, not a... Well, depending on what it is, right? It doesn't really need to answer but it's Chalice too much because if they play Caverns and don't eat their Vials, it shouldn't matter. But with the 2 damage, it can deal with a bunch of creatures that are problems. It can kill a Delver, which is a thing. 1 mana, shoot down a Delver. It can kill an Emrakul. This is great. Yeah. I heard this before. What size of the crater is the freaking one that kills an Emrakul? But yeah, it can kill an Emrakul. You can go, you're like, so and so, I'll turn to you, and they're like, oh man, Crater Maker. And you're like, sure. And you untap, and you're like, pay 1. Take care of Emrakul. You're like, what the heck just happened here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take care of that, which I think is pretty funny. Takes care of Battle Skull, Jite, which is big. It also takes care of Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah. I mean, it's Kulagan's command.
Yeah, this card is just like you say, it's versatile against a lot of different things. Against death and taxes, it's very annoying. But overall, I think the card itself is just great. 2 for 2/2 is good rate. It has 2 relevant abilities.
Yeah, he's also coming out. You just have the one of, and he gets tutored up with Matron or ends up in your hand with Ringleader. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's a really good card. And he should see some decent amount of play.
Also, this guy had bad luck from the beginning because of the cat.
The black cat, yeah.
I just
he also has way too many explosives on his back. Way. A spaghetti problems to be seen no more.
Say no more.
Hey, to my fave peeps. Hey, what's going on, Ty? But yeah, I think this is going to be really good. We can go ahead and move on to the next one. How do you pronounce that?
I'm pretty sure it's Izoni or just Zoni without the I in the front.
I think it's Azonai.
Azonai?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm done. It's Azonai.
Okay.
I don't know.
So Azoni, the Thousand-Eyed. She costs 6. This is 2/3 undergrowth. When it enters the battlefield, you create black-green insects for the number of creatures you have. Then you can sacrifice a creature, gain a life, and draw a card. So we've talked about a few things for Dredge. This is another tool for Dredge. That is admittedly a little bit weaker. Yeah, not in that.
Not a Nick Vidco.
That is admittedly a little bit weaker, but you do have desktop audio. You do admittedly have the ability to go extremely wide with this card when you Dread Return. So, and it can also restart your Dredge.
Yeah, definitely. Before I get into it, Snap Castro, awesome mage, 94, thanks a lot for the follow. Yeah, so what I like is with decks like Grixis Delver, so you get your Gurmags, True Names, your Delvers, and they are the threat, and you are pretty much trying to go straight forward with that. Dredge is going wide anyway with the 2/2 zombies, so they're kind of doing that. You can reanimate a Grave Troll. That's usually what you're doing if you're trying to get your one big threat. But this, just you explode.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't have the time, and they're gonna take care of your Icarids, they're gonna take care of your Narcomoebas, even your bridges. They're gonna start taking care of that. You just Dread Return this, and you just go super wide. So it can make it faster, but also in that regard, it depends on what Dread Return targets you want. Because then it's on you if you think this is better than Flamekin Zealot.
Right.
Because this can probably come out faster than it and give you more of a wider, I would say wider field. Because Flamekin Zealot can't come out faster because you need to have more zombies in the field.
Right.
At the same time, if you're trying to recover, you can, and you have mana, because that seems to be a problem with Dredge every once in a while.
Yeah.
But if you actually have mana, you can also use the second ability if need be. So I think it's pretty good. I also think it's pretty good in Nick Fit. I don't know about you.
Yeah, this seems like a complete Nick Fit playable. Let's just throw it in there right now.
Look, if it costs more than 4, it has to see playing Nick Fit, right?
Especially if it's black and green.
Yeah, and it's green sunnable, right? That's a term, green sunnable.
Green sunnable.
All right. So the next card we're going to go over is a card I really like, and I know we're both going to talk at length about this one. All right, so Night of Autumn. I want to do turn. I want to sack vet on turn 6. All right, so Night of Autumn. You got the creature Dryad Knight. It's a 3-drop, which is a 1 green and a white, a 2/1. So when it comes to the battlefield, you choose 1. You either put 2 counters on it to make it a 4/3. You destroy target artifact or enchantment, or you gain 4 life. All right, so now with this card, when it comes to Legacy, aside from Elves, this is going to replace Rex Sage in any deck that has the 1/of copy of Rex Sage.
Yes.
Definitely. All right. This card, yeah. Oh, look. So, no. What is it? Friggin' Azoni is not a Nick Vid card. This one is Nick Vid.
This one is definitely.
Yeah. And it also runs white. Yeah. So this is definitely a Nick Vid card. This is everything except Elves. And the only reason it's not gonna see play in Elves is because Wirewood Symbiote can bounce back Rex Sage over and over again, and so there's no point to run this when you can just use Rex Sage repeatedly. But this card is amazing.
Yeah, I think so. Wizards has this tendency now to develop a card that will see play and have significant impact on all three formats. And I think of the set, this is the card that will stand out as having more impact than immediately like Assassin's Trophy will. But this card, I think, is the card that you want to look at to say, what card out of Guilds of Ravnica did you think affected all formats? I would always name Nine of Autumn more than likely.
Yeah, I think it's
least
really
right
good.
now.
Yeah, and then I agree in Maverick. So the reason Maverick runs Quixotic Pride Mage is because it needs to exalt it, and also it wants the creature on board. It can carry equipment. It does a bunch of things. So it doesn't. Sometimes it'll run the Rex Age if they're running Green Suns, because Maverick is all over the place. Sometimes you can run it in so many different ways or have different builds. But this card, there's so many different decks this can be played in, and even when I was looking up decks for this, at least the Triad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me. There's a Bant Allurin list that I'm working on, and with the Bant Allurin list, it has if for some reason you exile your Parasitic Strix, you can get one of your bounce creatures. So you have this can be recruited, or excuse me, this can be tutored with Recruiter of the Guard. And what you do is you get Recruiter of the Guard, getting all your stuff, and whether you have Dreamstalker, well, it's not Dreamstalker because that's Imperial Recruiter. Oh my God, it's Arctic Merfolk and Quickling. That's the other one. So those two are the bounce creatures along with Cavern Harpy. You can cycle those with Cavern Harpy and this to go infinite on life. Now, granted, in Legacy, along with Modern, but Legacy, I don't like Mana War, and I'll explain that in a second. In Legacy, you got Jace the Mind Sculptor, Ultimate can kill you. You got Infect. Repeat it, hits to the face where Emrakul can kill you. So, I mean, there's different things there. But yeah, if you can go infinite on life, and then at the end, you're like, and then also I have a 4/3 creature. And then there's ways to cycle it in which you get the rest of your dudes as well on top of that. So all of those things together, you should be good to go with running a thing like this, something like this in Allurin. The reason why I don't like Mana War in Allurin is because it targets. Allurin, when you're running Recruiter of the Guard, is so good because removal is almost completely null and void the moment you start comboing. Because you get all your recruiters and then you start bouncing creatures and none of those target. None of your bounce effects target.
Right.
But Mana War does. And the moment you go to target a creature and they bolt, push, abrupt decay, whatever it is that creature, your combo stops completely. And people keep forgetting that. I've seen streams in which people are losing to Allurin and they have a bolt in hand and they got cast a Mana War and then they're like, oh yeah, that's game. And I'm like, oh, you could have bolted that. It's like, you could have bolted the recruiter. It's like the game was over. And then he was dead next turn. You're like, oh no, he won last turn. I'm like, oh, well, you don't know how this card works. That's the only reason I don't like it. But yeah, I think this card is great. I think it's outstanding. The only interaction when Harpy's on the stack. Yeah, there's ways around that too. But anything else you want to discuss with this one?
I think this card is great.
All right. This next card is going to be really fun. All right, do you want to go over this one?
So, Lazov, whatever, because
since there's so much text, I'm going to get some water. I'll be right back.
Lazov here is 2 for 1/3, enters, you get to Surveil, so we're back to the Surveil mechanic. X, you can make him a copy of any creature card with X in it, or with the X converted mana cost. So, I think Lazov himself isn't the card you want to necessarily be looking for, but the tricks you can play with him are a lot of fun. And a lot of the buzz is about Stifle Knot potentially coming back, or Stifle Knot being a deck again. And the reason is you can make it a 1 mana 14/14 is Dreadnought, I believe.
12?
Or is it 12/12? It's a 12/12, right? It's something big. And so for 1 mana, you can have this guy just become a 12/12. Now, the fun thing is you can Vector Ass with him, and you can one-shot people using his ability as well. Kind of what Necrotic Ooze Reanimator does. I'm not fully familiar with the deck, but I have seen it played once. So he has a lot of tricks that he can do, and he can do it pretty quick and pretty efficient because it's so it's low cost. but he is legendary, so he just gets Caracas. Unfortunately.
Yeah, Caracas, you have to go around that. Did you explain how to do it with the...
I didn't explain how to do it. So,
Yeah, so
okay.
So you did the first round.
Right.
So the way you have to do this is, of course, you got to know yourself to get those dudes in the yard and everything. Is because if you do it the wrong way, it doesn't work. Let's say you're swinging with Lazav, you have to copy the asp first. So you copy him first. He becomes the 1/1, gets the ability of Lazav as well as that one. Well, that's not exactly how it works because you activate the asp and you have to hold priority.
Yes.
And then you Lazav copying the dreadnought. And then he becomes a dreadnought and then he gets infect. The reason being is because if you give him infect and then you copy the dreadnought overrides everything else and he becomes a dreadnought. Yeah, so you have to actually activate hold priority and then activate the other one. You have to do that. You don't think so? Because the infect it's not was originally on the card, so he's copying Phyrexian Dreadnought and everything that's printed on the card. Copy abilities is an earlier layer. Well, I mean, if he's gaining an ability. Well, actually, I'm gonna look up the release notes for Lazav because this card is unique anyway, and it'll give me a better understanding of how that works. Because you don't think you have to hold priority? Yeah, it's only because the way he is worded, he is copying a new card, and he doesn't keep any abilities of the old card.
Yeah, that's the way I understood it
I can also look that up here.
When I read it. Because I thought the same thing too, that you could just do the two independently. But
oops. Let's see if it comes up here. I doubt it's going to come up because these... They always find out afterwards when they're like, oh, we didn't know you guys wanted to use this card that way. Copies exactly what was printed on the original card. Nothing else except the characteristics of special reminder. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't copy any information about the card. Any effects that apply to Lazav before it becomes a copy of another card will continue to apply once it's become a copy. Effects that before it becomes a copy. Yeah, so this right here would actually...
Okay. So he has a specific release note that lets him keep it.
Yeah. So he has in his notes, he actually lets you keep infect. So I guess you don't have to do that because that would be really confusing for people. Any effect that applies to Lazav before it becomes a copy of another card will continue to apply once it becomes a copy. So even easier. Boom. All right. Lawyered.
In any case, what I really like about Lazav and the potential of Stifle not coming back is people just don't respect Stifle. And I like seeing people get wastelanded by Stifles all the time.
Yeah, what I was also looking to do is you can also put a one-drop hexproof creature in the yard.
Yeah.
And then Lazav is just going to stay on the battlefield. You just keep him there, and then whenever like the door is open, you just like they go to do anything to him. He's like pay one. He's now got hexproof.
Yep.
And they pay one, got hexproof, and then you just thought seize because you're running those colors, and then just combo kill and boom, they're dead. So he's to be buried alive with Voraz Shapeshifter underneath the phage. You trying to get us killed? What's you trying to do? Yeah, and then you just flip it. It's already on the battlefield. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Weird ways. Or you can stifle it. You're already running stifles.
There you go.
Yeah, you're already running stifles. So, all right. So the next card we actually threw in because it was requested by was it Rish? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got Legion Warboss. Legion Warboss has Mentor. Well, he's a 3-drop 2/2. He has Mentor. Whenever his creature attacks, you put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. That creature gains haste until the end of the turn and attacks as combat if able. So, what do you think about this one?
I think there's two schools of thought with this card. Is in Goblins, it obviously can seem insane, potentially, because it's just another Rabble Master. But if you're on the mono red prison plan, I still think Rabble Master itself is better.
Yeah, definitely. What's interesting about this card, so the Mentor ability is like a slower lord.
Yeah.
Which is awkward because being a 2/2, what is going to be? You have to have like an instigator out.
Yeah, I
you
can mention
just
that, but
you have to have other creatures out that are going to take advantage of this anyway. So it's a slower lord. Since attack's not
right.
And then once you're doing that, it's becoming a rabble master after that. And it's not forcing the other ones to attack, but it's sending the goblins. So it's a little wonky.
Like I said, I think it's really good in the goblins deck because that's kind of what you want to be doing with your goblins is attacking. But in mono red prison, I feel like Rabble Master is still just as good, if not better, because if you can destroy your own bridge, you're getting in for a lot more damage once they have to attack.
Yeah. When this creature attacks, put a +1. And what's awkward is the mentor abilityness is incentivizing you to attack.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long this is going to last before this dies. Imperial taxes. Let's see. So lesser power. What has lesser power? Stoneforge Mystic? Mom?
Yeah. Creatures you generally, I think there's
And
you
the
don't want to be attacking with.
the token.
And the token itself.
Yeah, and there's a lot of 3 CMC. You're right. Yeah. I think that's about it. Those are about the only real creatures, unless you're gonna run something else on top of this. You also got the Thopters because you're running. Usually, you run the at least one PNQ Noir.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is really gonna work in that shell. The one thing I don't like is mentor only triggers when it's attacking.
Yeah.
So you're running this out there and you're forced to do that just to get the value out of it, out of the first half of it. The second half, you probably have better options. Granted, I know it's at 5, but at 5 you get a siege gang and you're doing a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
So I'll give you some other examples. Matron, would you want to tutor this? Is there any casing would you want to tutor this?
I don't think so.
It's probably not. Ringleader is coming in hand, and then would you want to get this with a Imperial Recruiter or a Recruiter of the Guard? It's probably not a reason why. Probably any reason. You're probably not going to see as much play. Somebody could try it out. You get a clear board and you drop this on the table, and then all those 1/1 goblins are now 2/2s, and it's always going to make them larger if you're swinging with it. So yeah, but yeah, at that case, Rabble Master will definitely kill it faster. All right, so moving on to the next one.
Card is still insane in standard, I think.
Yeah, standard again, still gonna be really good. So you want to go over this one?
So Lothlet Giant, we continue on the dredge train here. He's 7 for a 6/5 undergrowth. He comes in. It deals 1 damage, again damage, not loss of life, to target opponent for each creature card in your graveyard. So if we continue on kind of like with that theme in dredge, if we just want to dump our entire deck and then dread return something, one-shotting for 20 seems pretty good.
Yeah, you can just one-shot your opponent.
Or you actually only need 8 creatures plus him with your crippling chill or creeping chills.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just literally how you're doing it now. You can have. See, look, we're building a deck together here. You see how this works now? You can run this in the deck with the Rip Sweepers, and see how this works. This is you're just reanimating this. There's no other. I don't think there's any other way to utilize this card. I mean, afterwards, if they survive, mono black. Oops, then you can do that.
Black oops.
They take a 6/5, and if they don't have any way to block it, they're taking that to the face. You could also. It's at 7. Thinking of a mono black shell, if there's ways to get multiple of these out, like, you dread return the first one. If you don't mill yourself out completely somehow, and instead you can just like a value mill and like hit him for 10, you can then reanimate another one, and then they're probably dead. So again, these are decks that don't exist, but it's a one shot, just large chunk of damage. And Again, damage.
Yeah, it's damage, and this one targets.
So weird.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess they want to kind of try and subvert the loss of life deal in standard. That's why it's
Probably.
designed like this now.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, so I think this one is solely in dredge. Well, not solely in dredge, but anything that's targeting, that's trying to just mill themselves out with a bunch of creatures. Can't think of anything else.
No, that's about it on this one.
I mean, I think it's pretty good because it also takes up less space than some other
Dies
shells
the
that I've
Gurmag.
seen. It dies the Gurmag. The Gurmag dies too, though.
Yeah.
Also ends up back in your graveyard, so you can bring it back out. So I'll point that out. All right, let's see. All right, so we have mission briefing. Blue instant. Surveil 2. Then, choose an instant or sorcery card in your graveyard. You may cast that card this turn. If that card would be put in your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. All right. So, Snapcaster Mage?
This is not. However, this card does serve a good purpose because its most relevant legacy text, in my opinion, is that you can do the alternate costs at an instant speed again.
Yeah,
But-
it's not gaining flashback.
Right. But you can, where I see this being really good is you can put a surgical into your yard and then surgical that same turn.
You can put a surgical into your yard?
Yeah, with Surveil.
Okay.
If you look at the top two, you have a surgical in there.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that. You can cast Forcible, which is also is really good. I have nightmares of playing Storm and my opponent has this in hand and it's like he brainstormed 2 turns before and it's like, I'm gonna Storm, and then he goes mission briefing and he mills over a freaking Force of Will and then it's like, Force of Will that, and I go, haha, you're a powerful wizard, aren't you? So yeah. As Solidarity will want this. Go fishing. Yeah, the big thing with this, with Solidarity, any Cunning Wish deck is that it can be Cunning Wished. So this Omnitel, not necessarily Omnitel, but also the Sneak and Show decks that run Omniscience that have the Cunning Wish package. So yeah, that's pretty good too. So but any of those decks, there's wiggle room to do some things because you can Cunning Wish to get this.
Yeah.
And recast cards in your yard. And if it's an Omnitel deck, you have Omniscience in play. Now, granted, if you're Cunning Wish or Omnitel, you should be winning the game. But yeah, there's things to do there. One of the things I was thinking about is Food Chain. So in Food Chain, some of the lists run Spellseeker, and Spellseeker you can do a tutor package to get Manipulate Fate, Abrupt Decays, Fatal Pushes, anything you need, and you can get a mission briefing. And with mission briefing, you can get Force of Wills to make sure your, I guess you could do it that turn. Your food chain is going to resolve any sort of spell you need to resolve that turn, or the turn before, however you're going to do it. But you can get this to get more cards and do some sort of value. You can't get a Snapcaster Mage with Spellseeker, so it gives you some sort of way around there. What else can you think of?
I think, like Gamer brings up, it's your 5th Snapcaster if you really want it.
It's not replacing
but-
Snapcaster Mates. No,
Yeah.
The body is way too important.
But I still think this card is uniquely different than Snapcaster in that the Surveil lets you set up things that you would not normally be able to.
Yeah. Yeah, High Tide is a big one. Again, Cunning Wish. Oh, there's also one more that if somebody could figure this one out, I think it'd be great. And that's Infect. Because Surveil feeds Become Immense, and the alternate cost and Invigorate you can cast.
Mm-hmm.
So the combination of those two, I think, is really good.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times I played Infect in which you're brainstorming to find just like a way to hurry up the kill. Because you don't need to rush the combo on the first 2 turns or 3 turns unless you're playing against a fast combo deck. But if you can Surveil and Invigorate to the yard, and you're feeding a Become Immense, this is going to be really bad for your opponent.
Yeah.
The only problem is the 2 mana. So it's at what point in the game in which you're doing this. It gets a little awkward. But Noble Hierarchs kind of take care of that a little bit. Invigorate is free. So you're paying 2 mana to cast a spell that's going to be free. But 2 mana to cast a free Invigorate and probably a Become Immense for 1.
Yeah.
So technically,
3
become
mana.
events for 3. That's what you're doing.
It seems really good.
Yeah, it gets kind of wonky, and yeah. So we brought up the part that you also don't target.
Yes. You
So
can target
there's
the
no
spell.
part between when you surveil and when you choose. So they can't surgical in response. So you got a few things going on there that kind of work out for this card. And it pitches to Force of Will,
Yep.
which
Blue cards have a very
instantly
high
playable.
floor.
Instantly playable. Look at that. Boom. All right. Anything else in this one?
No.
All right. So, I've never seen this card before. I think it's going to break Legacy wide open. All right. So, the reason why I bring this one up, it's a reprint, obviously, right? We've discussed all these graveyard strategies over and over again, okay? And it's not like Narcomoeba is breaking the bank if you go ahead and it's first printing. It's not like it's breaking the bank. But what this does do is there's one other reprint I think we're going to discuss. Yeah. There's at least one other reprint. You get people in Standard playing cards that they're going to hear repeatedly. This card gets played in Modern. This card gets played in Legacy. And then they're going to go, well, this card sucks in Standard, which I think Narcomoeba is probably not going to see any play whatsoever.
No, I mean, it could still be a value creature. If you're trying if your surveil deck is playing it, sure, whatever, but it's not going to be phenomenal.
Reprint of the reprint. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's right, because it was future, yeah. Bring back Four Horsemen. So the reason I bring this one up is because we brought up a bunch of graveyard decks and some new ones that could be coming out. You got some strategies that I'm gonna work on a Rift Sweeper deck. I'm gonna make that happen. But it's probably gonna include Narcomoebas.
Yeah. Because
you want to be able to like Dread Return a way to get back to the dudes, and who knows what's going on. So Narcomoeba is getting reprinted. It's a way to introduce more people into the format. Again, not an expensive card whatsoever. It can be bonkers with Sevelia, definitely. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. Standard, you get more blockers with your control decks, and it's going to be really dumb. But and so then they see these cards, they hear stories. We out here in Southern Arizona, we're running a Legacy Proxy League, and people are going to they probably have Narcomoebas already. Some guy will probably play Dredge, or Oops All Spells, and he's going to be like, "Oh, I already have these cheap cards. Mm-hmm. Let me go and see how much these other cards cost," and then realize LEDs for Dredge are super expensive, but at least he's not buying duels. So see how that works. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a reprint. I'm probably going to get 4 foils, because why not? I have Dredge built already. I actually just took the cards apart, I think, or the deck apart.
Yeah. I don't want to go too much on a sidebar, but Gamer Champ, if you played in Standard when Narcomoeba was first printed, you would think this thing is not bonkers at all in the Standard that's about to come. The first Reckoning of Dredge was not very fun for anybody.
Yeah, definitely entomb the sack. That's value. That's value right there. All right. So we got Omnispell Adept. Give me 1 second. Right over here. So Omnispell Adept, we got 4 in a blue. It's a 3/4 wizard. For 2 in a blue, you tap it. You may cast any instant or sorcery card from your hand without paying its mana cost. All right, I'm not a believer in this one. Yeah. So I'm not a believer in this one either.
Either.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's gonna break Legacy or the format or anything. But we've been discussing cards all day. We've been going over different types of decks, different things that could be happening. What's instant or sorcery? So when you have Omniscience in play, Enter the Infinite is something that you can go ahead and cast, and then you're killing them on the spot. But you're also continually using Omniscience after that.
Yeah.
Cunning Wish off Omniscience, you're also comboing off and using Omniscience repeatedly. There has to be an instant or sorcery that you're cheating out off of 3 mana. Yeah, that you're cheating off of 3 mana that you can value out, and it can probably win you the game. There's got to be something.
Well, first of all, it's probably going to be 6.
It's going to be 6?
Because this thing costs 5. So I just don't think there is a spell that you want to be. I don't think there's an end all be all spell that essentially wins when you use this ability.
Yeah, because by then you want to show and tell in Omniscience, right? Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to point out that this thing.
What this card does do is it shows Wizards' willingness to design cards such that they subvert other forms to make you respect it. Because it's Arcane Artisan for spells.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, Arcane Artisan for spells. That's
there's a change in philosophical design there.
And they made you go like, all right, this is gonna be way more powerful.
Could you imagine if this was 2 for a 1/1 with that same ability?
Yeah. So they felt it was powerful enough to make it cost 5 mana. So there has to be something we didn't see. Gonna be sweet and standard with Apex of Power, of course, yeah. Had you had to work about bad cards? And did he bring this up? Is that what he said? He goes, we're going to talk about Omnispell Depth. This entire podcast, I can't imitate him right now. He's going to be about... that's a nerd voice. You go to my nerd voices.
One of the nerd voices.
All right. So, moving on to the next card. Quasi-duplicate. All right? So, hold on. Messing up my things over here. Quasi-duplicate. We got 1 blue. Nerd voice. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. In addition to that, it has Jumpstart. You may cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. Then you exile it. All right. So, it's a clone effect that you can use twice. All right? Mm-hmm. Don't tell me Merfolk.
Well, one Merfolk in particular.
Well, yeah, it's this is true name copy number friggin'. Well, you can also do Phantasmal Image on true name, which makes it annoying.
Right. Yeah.
But this is copying other things. No, not cool. Let's see.
This card got really bad when I realized it could only target your creatures.
Yeah, when you target your creatures, it was bad. What I was thinking was true name in decks that aren't Merfolk.
Yeah.
If you don't want to run a bunch of true names, you can copy that. I can clone Grizzle. Oh wait, yeah. If you're running Grizzlebrand, you can clone it. Yeah. This can clone a bunch of things, and there's no drawback unless you want to discard a land and recast something, and then you're getting more true names. Mm-hmm. The big thing is that is a legend. Well, I mean, still, you can draw 7 while it's on the stack and then get the new one. Come on now.
There you go.
And then when you bounce your token, oh wait, that doesn't go to your hand. Anyway, the big thing is being able to cast this twice. Just thinking of it that way, because you either cost 3, then 5 with Snapcaster Mage. But in this sense, if it costs 3, then it costs 3 again with discarding a card. So in something like a blue-white Stoneblade list, it's copying true names. There's no value in copying a Snapcaster. There's probably value in copying a Stoneforge.
Yeah.
Those are probably the only creatures you're really running.
Yeah. I mean, I could see this even making its way into Grixis control. Some people might want to play it because it gives you... My big thing is that this gives you creature options number... creature options number X through X another one, but having a spell rather than the creature.
If you copy a Strix and you draw the card, and then you eventually later on discard the card, where's the net? You're getting so much like net value, like weird net value there. The jumpstart is irrelevant. Yeah, and then if you don't use it, just exile it to freaking Gurmag Angler. So I can see that working. Yeah. Personally, I like this card because it pitches the Force of Will. No, no, I like this card because you're able to use it more than once. It was the big deal. So you can use it twice, and you just have things that you want to be able to copy from. In something like Grixis Control, you have Gurmag Angler, Strixes. There's so many things there. So you have value creatures you want to do there. There's also Merfolk, but in Merfolk, you also have Phantasmal Image to copy true names. So you got different options. All right, let's moving on to this one. Runaway Steamkin. You want to go over that?
All right, so Runaway Steamkin here is 2 for a 1/1. You cast a red spell. He gets a +1/+1 counter if he has fewer than 3. Then you remove 3 to add 3 red mana to your mana pool. So this guy just by himself looks like a Storm Enabler just from a very wide portion. And one of our notes is Mono Red Storm. This gives it a way to build up some more mana. But what I really like about Runaway Steamkin is when a lot of people recently have brought up the cost of Legacy and how it's so prohibitive, I think a card like this can allow a newer player to focus in on a single color deck that doesn't require any dual lands at all and allows them to have a build around to say, hey, I kind of want to get into Legacy. What can I do with this guy?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's this should be played. I've seen some decks already being played in Modern because the card's already on Moto. So I see this being played in Modern in some decks. And it can get out of hand really fast.
Yes.
I mean, it's possible to be played in Charbelcher as well. There's different options there. With it costing 2, it can come in off of Manamorphose, and if you keep casting Manamorphose and all these other red spells, you're just ramping into more ramp, and I think it's really good. Jumping over to Modern real quick. I was watching Holy Diva, her stream, and she's killing people on turn 3.
Yeah.
She's killing people on turn 3 with this. What else is it? Bedlam Revelers, Monastery Swiss Spears, and I think that's the creature package.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's able to ramp out with Desperate Rituals and Pyretic Rituals and Manamorphose and just keep getting more mana. And I'm like, all right, you can't get more mana with the cantrips, but I'm pretty sure you can keep the train going. Mm-hmm. And in her build in Modern, she's using Bedlam Revelers to keep the train going. Because using all those rituals, and then you get all that mana, you can use the rituals and the mana to cast a freaking Bedlam Reveler and draw 3 cards, Manamorphose, and you just keep going.
Yeah. Does it also play Faithless Looting?
Yeah, Faithless Looting. Yeah, Faithless Looting as well. So that's how you're drawing your cards.
The best cantrip in Modern.
And it's also playing my pet card in Modern, which I'm still trying to break, and it might be broken now. Claim to Fame.
Oh.
Because either you can just reanimate this, or a Monastery Swiss Spear, which already has haste, or you discard it and then you fame, whether it's the Reveler or this, or you can fame technically a Swiss Spear, and both halves of the card. Both halves trigger Swiss Spear or the Bedlam Reveler. Second half triggers this.
Okay.
So like you're just getting value no matter what you're doing. Yeah, you can do the Pact of the Titan. You need exactly 7 cards for that combo, by the way. You need exactly 7 cards to pull that combo off and murder your opponent.
I've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. But I really like this card. It's a interesting Storm Enabler. All right, so let's move on to the next one. We got Tajik Legion's Edge. You get a 3-drop legendary creature with haste. With the Mentor ability, which we described earlier, prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to other creatures you control. Red and a white, Tajik Legion's End gains first strike until end of turn. He's a 3/2, paging out of absence. Yeah, for the other one, yeah.
Red Storm, yeah.
All right, so I'm assuming this one was brought up for red-white Death and Taxes. Now, so Mentor. Again, the Mentor mechanic in Legacy, I don't like it because it forces you to attack.
Yeah.
Strix is everywhere. Now, this one has an advantage because for red and a white, you can
give it first strike.
You can smack the Strix out the way. Get out of my way, Strix. So you have that advantage, but it still costs you mana to do that. One thing I like about this is it forces for double red removal. But how many decks are playing Bolt right now? Grixis Control and Grixis Delver?
Yeah.
The rest are Strix and Block. What you Mentor? Yeah, I know. But it's Swords and Fatal Push. And as long as you, oh my God, what's the freaking Revolt Fatal Push? You can Revolt Fatal Push this, and then it's dead. And then you're losing all your other things to go with this. So I don't think this is gonna have a good spot in Legacy. I would play the other Tajik, the one that's indestructible, the old one.
Oh, I don't remember this.
Yeah. Let me just.
Admittedly, I know quite a few Magic cards off the top of my head, but that's one I don't know.
The 4-drop
Oh,
Tajik.
that's why, because I didn't play during.
Tajik Blade of the Legion is indestructible. Whenever Tajik and at least 2 other creatures attack, he gets +5/+5 to end the turn, so he becomes a 7/7.
Yeah.
And he's indestructible. Yeah. I'd rather play that than over this one. But even then, I
Still
probably.
get swords.
Yeah, he still gets swords. I mean, you could probably gain 7 life, though. But he's going to be much harder to kill.
Yeah, this is true.
So, I mean, you're swinging over a battalion. True Name has to block that dude. He has to block that guy. So, all right, we're going to move on from that one. All right. 1,000-Year Storm. 4 blue and a red. Enchantment. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it for each other instant or sorcery spell you've cast before it this turn. You may choose new targets for the copies. So, the only thing I'll say about this card, it costs 6, right?
Yeah.
But it does something really crazy.
This effect is probably one of the craziest effects I've seen in a Magic card in a while. And you can tell so because it's a story spotlight card. So
what I like is what I like is all right. Players, we're sorry. We messed up when we made Storm, so we're not going to print Storm anymore. We're sorry. We're gonna even Mara was like, we're gonna call it the Storm scale. What it is?
Yeah.
It's not. We're not gonna print Storm anymore. Here's a card that has Storm on it, pretty much. I know it's Storm on crack. Really, it's with Super Storm. It's a hurricane. It's really bad. Now, granted, it's costed effectively.
Yes.
Like, because I mean, 6 mana, you get this. Red Inferno count. Yeah, you got to be doing all of that stuff. If you get this off though, and it hits the battlefield, and you have cards in hand, I'll say that because you probably spend your entire turn doing this, and hopefully you don't lose on the spot. You should win the game.
Yes. Well, I mean, and that's like the design of this kind of card should be. It costs a lot. It's a mythic rare. Like, this thing actually feels mythic because that's a big thing people always talk about too. And you know something big is going on here because, I mean, I like to look at the lore too. It's a story spotlight card, so the 1,000-Year Storm, I wonder what's going on in Ravnica when this storm like hits the plane. So
yeah, getting into that. Ooh, okay. How about a Just Guide deck with not that one, it's Academy. I had the wrong one.
Yeah.
So Just Guide with Academy Rector. Probably part of Project Lightning Bug.
Maybe, yeah.
And what you're doing is you try to power this out. You got Ponders, Brainstorms, maybe some Bolts, and you can try to get an Academy Rector out.
Conveniently, it's a Nick Fit playable.
Well, not exactly.
I know.
But I mean, because you still need instant and sorceries in a deck, so it's kind of...
Yeah.
But you can have more copies of Academy Rector. Maybe you have some other enchantments as one-shots. Rector Storm, yeah. And then Brainstorm could put this back in the deck. Mm-hmm. So like you have your 1,000-Year Storm in the deck. What have you guys covered so far? No, we're actually going by alphabetically. So with us being a 1,000-Year Storm, we went over a handful of cards already. We only are going over a total of about 26 cards. And we got a few more that we're going over after this.
Yeah.
And we do have at least one more Nick Fit card. Just want to point that out. Matt, just want to let you know.
A legitimate one.
A legitimate one. Not like, I think it's a Nick Fit. It's a legitimate one. I'll go with that. Anyway, so going over this one, if you can cheat this out somehow, yeah, we went over Night of Autumn. I think it's an amazing card. We both think it's amazing. It's going to replace Rex Sage and everything except Elves. And Allurian can go infinite with life with Night of Autumn.
Yep.
Just don't lose to Emrakul or Jace the Mind Sculptor.
If you liked Kitchen Finks, you should like Night of Autumn.
Yeah, Night of Autumn is amazing. I need to get my 1 foil. I don't think I need 1.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, 1,000-Year Storm. You could probably run Bolts because you can just sandbag a Bolt, and then after you're done, you can even kill the Rector with a Bolt.
Yeah.
You kill them right through it. Start off with a bolt, and then, like, toward the end of the turn, it's whenever you cast destroy spell, copy of each turn. You cast before it this turn. It's gonna check, even before it is on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Give them Mexico. Oh my god. Give the Ravnica release notes.
Matt, we can go back to Mausoleum Secrets.
Mausoleum Secrets.
We didn't go over it, but we can.
Yeah, we can go. We can go back
definitely
to
go
it. I like how there's several thousand. So you cast that were counted. Roll. Just copies damage can. Oh my god. Multiples copy instant. It's the release notes are all about copies.
Yeah.
It's gonna check. It should check beforehand. It should check all of them. Yeah. What was it? Mausoleum.
Yeah, Mausoleum Secrets. It's the black tutor for Undergrowth.
This one? No, that one.
Yeah, that thing.
That thing. Yeah, we'll go over that one. Yeah, so it's gonna check as you're even getting up to this spell, which I think it'll be amazing. And then at the end you just bolt and it'll copy it like 12 times.
This is why I think we can understand why they don't want powerful burn anymore.
Well, you're eventually run out of
Or at least
mana.
in this standard, but yeah, there's no way to like. It's not degenerate enough in like how it was designed. Also, because it's not exactly Storm.
Yeah, I was trying to think because there's got to be a way to also if you use your graveyard too. Jeez, yeah.
Passing Flames, yeah.
Well, Passing Flames, but you also need you need more mana. Yeah. All right.
You'll
Yeah,
produce
you can-
mana.
you
You can
can-
build a Grixis deck.
You can definitely kill your opponent with this.
Yeah.
All right. So, petals, LEDs don't count already. It's instant sorcery yet. For each other instant sorcery.
Yeah.
All right. So move on to the next one. Unmoored Ego. 1 black and a blue. Choose a card name. Search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for up to 4 cards with that name and exile them. That player shuffles their library, then draws a card for each card exiled from their hand this way.
So I was around when Cranial Extraction was originally printed, and Cranial Extraction became a pretty decent sideboard card because of JIT. But what I really like about this, and it kind of gives me the same remnants of Cranial Extraction back in the day, because it can get rid of a problemed card, but this one is going to hit lands, and lands are much more important in Legacy. So basically, I was wondering, do you think that this card could have a place in Legacy as a sideboard option because of the relevance of lands and key lands at that?
It could. Yeah, Hackbird is bringing up Tony Murata, which is one of the best 12 post players in the country, if not the last one in the country.
Not the last one in the country.
I mean, he's really good. He top 8'd the PTQ at GP Richmond.
Yeah.
And he's really good. Yeah, you're gonna draw 4 cards because I'm gonna name Cloudpost, and then you neutered part of his deck, and all you got to do is stop Show and Tell, so he doesn't get Primeval Titan. But yeah, definitely. And again, it pitches the Force of Will being blue, of course. Yeah, you have to find the balance of them drawing the cards not being relevant once you've neutered their main game plan.
Right.
Is
But
what
I mean,
it
they
is.
only draw the card if it was in their hand, so. So like if you
Yeah, from their hand. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they just like lost legacy for everyone that was in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
So you also got to catch it before it hits the table.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. So if they got one of them, they're getting value out of it. If they wastelanded any you once, then they already got value out the wasteland. So it's you got different factors there. There's also this effect over other effects that you don't need to hit basics For instance, surgical.
Right.
Because surgical can hit non-basics. I joked the first time when this came out, I was like, what was it? You wasteland the tundras and then you name planes with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you just name planes and then Miracles doesn't have any white sources.
Yeah.
And then if you're playing lands, you don't have to worry about any Terminus, Council Judgment, or Swords. You just got to worry about Jace bouncing Mirror Lage.
Yeah. The most relevant land I thought about when we were talking about lands is Grove of the Burn Willows, I think. Being able to shut down the Punishing Fire engine is pretty significant.
Yeah, Dark Depths.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good against Dark Depths. Yeah, because Surgical is not good against Dark Depths. Unless you're playing a Wasteland heavy deck, because then you can Wasteland into Surgical. Or if you can stop Merit Lage pretty easily, and then you Wasteland them, or then you can Surgical them afterwards. So yeah, this, if you can protect it or get it out afterwards, yeah, this is gonna be pretty good. And you can fluster it, that's right, in your Bug Depths. You definitely can. I will say this, I like it a lot in Modern, even though this isn't a Modern review.
Yeah.
Because then you get to say Urza's Tower.
Everybody hates Tron. We know this. But as much as you guys want to attack the mana base, if you don't have a way to pressure it while you're doing so there's a lot of answers to attacking the mana base, especially in Modern.
That's not why. They run 20 lands. They're now running 16.
Yeah, I know that.
That's why.
But that's what I'm saying.
I could do everything else.
Right, if you're not pressuring it, I've played Tron enough to know that, like, okay, you killed one of my lands, big deal.
I understand. Same way you do Blood Moon, and then they go, oh, okay, that's fine. Well, I got to turn 7, and then I'm going to exile that with Karn, and now here comes Ugin. Yay. That's more worried about, Assassin Trophy. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yes.
But so this seems like a good card. Being a Storm player, I'm actually not worried about this card too much. I'm probably going to make sure I get it out their hand, or it just gets me. If it gets me, it gets me. Either way, you're either going to name Tendrils or you're going to name Empty the Warrens.
Yeah.
You're not naming both. And if you name Infernal Tutor, cool. I want to make sure I have 4 in my hand. Because then you go, oh no, draw 4. I'm going to brainstorm and put as many in my hand as possible. It's going to be the opposite Cabal therapy. You'll get all of them, and I draw 4. I don't care anymore. All right, moving on. All right, so we got... You want to go over this one?
Okay, so Vraska, Golgari Queen, she is 4 mana, 4 loyalty. You can +2, you sacrifice another permanent, draw a card, gain a life. You can minus to Abrupt Decay something, except the ability could be countered.
Yes.
And then you get... in true Vraska fashion, she has the ability to make creatures hit you and you automatically lose the game for her ultimate.
You're dead.
So, of all the things that could be Nick Fit playables, this is definitely one thing that could fit in there. What I particularly like about this is the plus with Flagstones of Churkier.
Yes.
Means you net gained a mana source if you search for a duel.
I'm actually looking to see if I had mine. I just had to check it real quick. I'm like, I got 1.
You got 1? I actually ordered one when you sent me the list.
Yeah, I meant to. I need to get more.
And then you gain a life and draw a card. So, and going up to 6, that's a lot for legacy planeswalkers as it is.
Yeah, what I like is it sacks. So in a deck that doesn't care about most of the creatures or a Veteran Explorer, you can just sack Veteran Explorer. And you're doing that, and you're getting value out of it. If you're not doing that, you may sacrifice a permanent, so you don't have to do that. Mm-hmm. So you get different options there. What I like is it makes all your creatures live after that, including Veteran Explorer if it ultimates. So having synergy, Voice Throne is really nice. Lone Pox is good. I like the Abrupt Decay. The -3 is fine. It can get rid of a lot of things. There's the Arena Academy Rector decks. You sacrifice a permanent. There's so many things that you want to die in Legacy. So I was listening to the Leaving a Legacy podcast, and they brought this up, and they were like, "This is no play. This is dead." I'm like, there are things you want to die in Legacy.
Yes. And
granted, 4 mana, you probably need to control the board anyway. So you're probably running therapies. Again, this is all this is all Nick Fit type shells. So you got your therapies, and you're trying to do things to ramp anyway before that. So Vraska seems pretty decent. It has a removal already. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop True Name. But again, if you're running a shell in which you have Academy Rector and you drop Vraska, or you drop Vraska, you plus get rid of Academy Rector and get like a Curse of Death's Hold.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that. Well, yeah, you not of course. This word. This is like
It's only
So I think this has the fact that it can do things for you. I do like that it sacks Flaxos of Trocare and you can just get another land.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm gonna go just sack this and I lost absolutely nothing. Yeah, so I think that's pretty good. And then the ultimate I think is really good. Because again, it makes everything live.
And I think a lot of planeswalkers outside of Jace's and Liliana's are kind of not respected enough in Legacy because they seem so underwhelming. But like you point out, when you're sacrificing things to get the benefits that you want and you're plussing loyalty, it makes it so this is a planeswalker that, oh my god, if she ults, I cannot let another creature hit me.
Yeah.
No matter what life total I'm at, I lose. So
I think I like that part. Yes, because it's you may sack, and if you do. So you can just go ahead and plus and not do anything. So that's the other thing. If it's just plussing and you don't want to get any of the value out of the first ability, it's getting to ultimate. And so if that triggers and you get there, depending on what you're doing in your Nick Fit deck, if you have some tramplers, it's going to be really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. All right. So moving on from there.
Do you want to talk about secrets first?
Sure.
And then close out with that one.
All right. So yeah, Mausoleum Secrets. 1 in a black. Instant with Undergrowth, which is search your library for a black card with converted mana costs less than or equal to number of feature cards in your graveyard. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. So please refer to my comments earlier for secrets. What were your comments earlier? You know, there's that box over there is like freaking yeah. So it's a tutor, right? What were you saying for earlier? Let me see what we got over here. Get Wreck Tony. Saw that one. I know, right? Copy Angler. When did you bring up Mausoleum Secrets?
I don't remember. It's when we were talking about how many cards we had.
Yeah, no, I don't see it. Oh, that's what it was. Psycho Wraith Secrets for Reanimate. Entomb Brand Secrets for Shallow Grave. Oh, yeah. Seems good. Yeah, it actually seems really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it gets...
That's a way to
gets
build a new,
costs.
like, mono black reanimator type shell.
Yeah, it gives you more copies of the cards you need. Definitely. And then instant speed tutor goes to your hand. Yeah, definitely something. You can even sack LED and response to secrets. Yeah, I like it. All these graveyard synergies. You know what's great? We go to Ravnica and they break legacies when that happens. I'm not saying this card's gonna break legacy, but they end up giving so many, because he's made Nick for like every other card we went over. But you see all these cards and it's funny because they don't want to break any of the formats, but then they give graveyard synergies, and then it just comes down to like, oh wait, these things are kind of powerful. What did we just do? Oh crap, we didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, the first time we ever went to Ravnica, they broke standard with Dredge.
yeah, Dredge.
So-
It was bad.
The graveyard is an often under-respected resource in Magic. And so to see 3 major abilities deal with... Or no, is it 2? No, 3, because the Surveil puts it into the
Surveil,
graveyard.
yeah.
3 major abilities dealing with the graveyard is significant because this is something we haven't... It's design space that hasn't been explored in quite a while. Although I am kind of upset that they really don't have a reanimator shell, unfortunately. But get as much as you can out of it.
All right. So the last card we're gonna go over is a reprint. All right. So we got Watery Grave. What does this do? Island Swamp. Enters the battlefield. You may pay 2 life, and if you don't, enters the battlefield tap. All right. The reason I'm bringing this one up is the same reason with Narcomoeba, but this card goes directly into what's currently thought as a tier 1 deck into Legacy.
Tier 1, I think a lot of people almost respect it as being the best.
The tier 0? Yeah. Yeah. I got a decent matchup against it, so I don't care.
Right. I think people will regard it as the best.
Yeah,
it might not be consensus the best.
Most spike type players are going right into it. Is it 4 Russian Stomping Grounds in the next Ravnica set? Yeah, probably. I'm looking for 4 foils of these, so I'll find them eventually. But so what's going on is it's possible to build Death Shadow without any dual lands. I don't recommend it. I think you should at least have 2 of them, maybe 1. But you can run 4 Watery Graves if you really want to, and then you run some number of basics. I think Ben Friedman had a list that ran no Underground Seas. Excuse me. So if you just pull 4 Watery Graves, you are running Death Shadow, and you got your Legacy deck, and you're good to go. Mm-hmm. So with the popularity of Death Shadow, and now a reprint of Watery Grave. Again, Watery Grave wasn't an expensive card before, but you have people that are playing. Yeah, I know you need the Seas, but you got people who are playing Standard, and they're going to be like, well, I now have a playset of Watery Graves. They may just jump into Legacy, and if they do that, they're probably going to play the budget version of no Underground Seas. And they go into it, we can see an uptick in Death Shadow.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, and they're not running Underground Seas, well then, cool, because right now my primary deck is Storm, and I actually don't mind that matchup at all. So, I mean, I'm cool with it. Do fetches rotate out of Standard? Yeah. There's no fetches in Standard right now.
Yeah, they've been out of Standard for a long time.
Yeah, the fetches have been out of Standard. Yeah, there's no way to fix your mana base right now.
Yeah, I didn't play during the second wave of Ravnica, but the mana was already perfect enough, and we have almost that exact same mana set again. So,
yeah.
The one thing I do want to bring up about this, and kind of to make a point that Gamer Champ has, you might need the Seas, but we've also, our very first card was Assassin's Trophy, and Assassin's Trophy becomes a major part in Legacy. It's going to necessitate you looking at your mana base. So there might be a mana base out there that runs 1 or 0 Cs because it needs basics.
Yeah, it might be 3 Watery Graves, 1 Underground Sea, and then the rest are basics.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people say you shouldn't run basics in Death Shadow, but again, they might have to change it because of Assassin's Trophy.
Yeah, so, and then the other thing I think about this is, because it's near and dear to our hearts, this is a signaling that, to me personally, they're never ever going to do anything about the reserve list. So people who have any inclination to think that the reserve list is going to get banned one day, or they're going to take the reserve list out of Legacy, I don't think it'll ever happen. They're printing these cards because Modern is their most popular format, and they want to have more of them out there, but also as a way to say, hey, this is the other option, because we cannot do the original option.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's me personally, it pains for some people to hear it. I'm fine with the prices of all my cards taking tomorrow, and I'll just keep playing Legacy. It's not that big of a deal to me. But it's probably not going to happen. And with that being said, they're reprinting the Shocklands for the second time reprint. New artwork and whatnot. Have new players coming in. The Wizards is pushing decks. They like decks that look budget with new Miracles or Back to Basics, which is no longer budget because of Back to Basics itself. Yeah. But that might change.
Which isn't a reserve list card.
Because give it Master Set freaking next year, they're going to reprint Back to Basics. I'm calling it now. We got Watery Grave. They might reprint Force of Will next year again. And if they do that, because then they're just going to drop the prices of the cards they can, and then the dual lands go back up again. Now, the big thing is, so going back to Watery Grave in particular with Death Shadow, you get players, and I used to do this, I didn't get to do it this year because I didn't play too much Standard. People buy out or sell out of Standard before rotation, And if players time that right and they have their Watery Graves, and Death Shadow is still a deck this time next year, they're able to buy at least one Underground Sea. Because I sold out a year ago, I think it was, and I got a decent amount for selling out of what was that? Was it Cons? I think it was a year ago.
A year ago? No, Cons was two.
I don't remember what it was then. Yeah, I don't remember what set it was, but I sold out of Standard, and I got like a decent amount of money for all my Standard cards, and I just got like more Legacy foils. Is what they went to that.
I mean, now, you'd be surprised too, like your bulk rare boxes, how much value is in there because of Commander. Like,
yeah,
I
did that
went
too.
to GP Phoenix and I took basically all of my Commander stuff and traded it into duels. So there's a lot of value just sitting around.
Yeah, and so with that being said, again, they pull their Watery Graves, and when Standard rotates, or maybe they want to get rid of a Modern deck, they make that jump to just getting one Underground Sea, and that could be enough for them to have Death Shadow. Mm-hmm. And now they're a Legacy player, they have a Legacy deck, and they're good to go. Granted, I don't think Death Shadow is an easy deck to play. I know so many people that go to like 5 life in their first few turns, and I'm like, okay, Storm Count 3, Tendrils. Tendrils. I'm going to counter it. Okay. It's like, you're dead. You're still going to die. I don't care.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's why I wanted to bring up Watery Grave. That's pretty much all I got. There's no other cards that we're really going to discuss, right?
No.
Yeah. We went over 27 cards. Yeah, we went over 27 different cards in the set. I'm excited to play these new cards. Assassin's Trophy, Knight of Autumn. What else we got?
1,000-Year Storm.
I'm waiting to break Creeping Chill.
Yeah.
With Rift Sweepers. I'm gonna work on that right now.
Like, it does look like a fun deck.
If I can figure something out, I'll play that in the Legacy League that's coming up. I gotta figure something out.
I'll be adding Vraska to my Legacy League deck.
Oh, that's right, Vraska. Yeah, with the Arena Rectors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. She can get the rest of them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can get the rest of them out, and that'd be pretty good. But yeah. So I'm hoping you guys enjoyed the stream. We're gonna start doing this for every single set that we get. We'll try to do it a week or two in advance. As soon as they release all of the cards, we're gonna see what Legacy playable cards are in there. We'll do a dedicated stream for that. See what we can find. See what decks will be, I'll say, enhanced.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one? Somebody brought up decks that might be pushed out because of new cards that are printed. Maybe strategies that will reemerge. There are different things that can be brought up. When's the next set spoiler? That's a good question.
It should launch after the first of the year, I believe. Because normally the next set will be launching like the 3rd or 4th week in January. Is typically when it is.
That's exiting. Oh, everything's about what's coming in and what's leaving.
Yeah.
Exiting in 5 days. Allegiance is January. Ravnica Allegiance is in January. Yeah, so the next set review we'll have is in January. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that one. Let's see if we'd like to go to City Champs. Oh no, that's not good. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. Anyway, I'm glad you guys were able to make it to the stream tonight.
Don't even start, Matt.
You sent us for the Nuggos.
Don't even start.
Driving across town and things, yeah. We got a few events coming up that we're going to make it to. We discussed them at the beginning of the stream. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow this channel. If you can, I also have a YouTube channel you can follow. I haven't streamed in a while because of a few things on my job, but I'm able to stream again now. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'll be streaming again. I stream primarily Legacy. That's like my biggest thing that I stream all the time. Follow here, follow YouTube, also on Twitter. I had the same name, True Nightmare. All that stuff is on the bottom over here. Dana, if they want to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you?
I'm typically on Twitter. You can follow me at Dev09Games. I just browse around on Twitter, so.
Yeah, we discuss Magic on Twitter all the time, so if anytime you want to talk about Magic or anything, just hit us up. We're always discussing Magic. It's pretty much all we do. But yeah, If you got any questions, hit us up. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and thanks for coming out.
See you later.